Hi everyone, it's Monique over at Butterbee Scraps, and I'm here just to show you my latest mini album. I haven't shown you one for a while, so this mini album was created for a swap hosted by Irene Cordova over at Life on the Scrap Beach. Thank you, Irene, you're an absolutely fantastic hostess. The theme was Shabby Chic Garden, and we were to use coffee sleeves to create the pages of this album. It was a two-part swap, so for the first part we were put in groups of 6, and each person in the group was to create 6 identical kits for one of the pages in the album. So each of us sent 5 kits in, and we got 5 different kits back, one from each of the other ladies in our group. For part 2 we were paired up with one other lady in our group, and what we are to do is create a mini album using only the supplies in our kits and then gift our albums to our partner. My partner is Ginger, and if you go over to My Sister's Scrapper on YouTube here, you will see her version of the Shabby Chic Garden mini that she created using the same kit I did. And you guys, I'm absolutely shocked at how incredibly different it looks than mine, but I thought it's really neat to see how 2 different people with the same materials can come up with something so different. Anyways, I chose to do a gate style mini. I bound it using Belinda Akers' hairband binding method. And so there were a few materials that I used out of my stash that were approved by Irene. These little elastics for the binding. I also used eyelets to reinforce the binding holes, and some Velcro you'll see elsewhere in the album. I also put this burlap that was in the kits over the ends just to cover the binding. The covers, I'm not entirely happy with the binding. I wish it laid a little bit flatter, but I think part of the issue is I didn't have enough medium weight chipboard for the front covers, so I had to use lightweight chipboard. And actually by the time I created the covers, because I always do them last, I had virtually no paper left, so I broke out the acrylic paints. And for the outside of the album I just used my Ranger gold dauber, and I daubed it around in swirl-like motions so that, you know, it adds a little bit of texture. And then I used a little bit of vintage photo and walnut stain distress inks, ran the ink pad directly over the pages, and then Mod Podged over top. So I did that for the front cover here and also for the back cover, and then I put my own personalized stamp and I signed and dated the back. And I asked Ginger before I did that. I wanted to make sure that that was okay with her, as opposed to just putting it on there and branding a mini that she may be, I don't know, giving away or using for something special, and she didn't want that on there. On the binding here, I also added this charm, which I made using some of the beads and the wire in the kits, and also this cute little glass bottle. Inside the bottle were some glass beads, which I've used throughout the album. There were some left, so I did leave some glass beads in there, and I also took this kind of natural handmade looking paper, stamped it with my script stamp, and distressed it and rolled it up and put it in there, and I thought that made a really cute charm too. So the flower I created using this gold organza type fabric and tulle that was in the kits. I used the Tim Holtz Tattered Florals die to cut it out and heat gunned it to ruffle it up so it looks kind of like a lollipop flower. I had this name or this word, sorry, in the kit, Smile, so I incorporated it into the album title, so I titled it All Smiles. This here is a grunge board element, and what I did was I used my copper leafing pen, and then I used some Spanish copper rub and buff, which actually looks like a dark bronze. And then I just put one layer of beauty on it, and I don't know if you can tell. It doesn't fully cover it, it gives it kind of like a rough age type look. This is a little grunge butterfly. I added some antenna, and this little butterfly is one of the places where I use those glass beads, so I put glossy accents on the wings and covered with the glass beads. I thought that was kind of a neat effect. And with all these little butterflies, I double layered them just to give them more of a three-dimensional look. So, and I've got glossy accents and crackle accents all over this. For the closure, there's this Tim Holtz swivel clasp with the hinge clip, and there was a large eyelet that I just put through the burlap, and then I've got a pearl on the other side just so that I have something that I could hook the swivel clasp to so that it wouldn't actually pull through that eyelet. And then I've got a variety of buttons and charms. These two charms here I made. And then there's Tim Holtz Muse token. So if you open the album up, these are the first pages. So this page here, I created this little canvas booklet. This is an absolutely beautiful butterfly, which I intended to put on the cover, but I just couldn't make it fit in very well, so I put it on this book. And these are wire antennae that I attached to the butterfly, and I just created a little journaling book here. So Tim Holtz Flourish did the same kind of treatment as with the nameplate on the front cover, only I used 2 layers of UD, which gives it a much smoother finish. Here I just used some ribbon from the kits, journaling spot, put a photo mat on this side, flower with a little heart charm, and I like wire work, so I took the wires on the flowers, and I quite often made these little curly vines on the side. So here there was this frame. Again, same treatment as the Flourish, and it's usable. You can put a picture in behind there. This flower was from a strip of ribbon, so you'll see a few more of those throughout the album. And we were given foil, so I used the foil, I embossed it, and cut that out of my tattered leaves die. Here again, I used more of those glass beads on this butterfly, and I created this little vellum envelope, a little booklet inside, and a couple photo mats. So this here is actually my least favorite page, and I don't quite know why, but I took this stamped image of a bird in a bird cage and I fussy cut it out, put some glossy accents on the bird and stickles around the bottom of the cage, and hung this chain with this charm. These 2 tickets actually come off, and this paper here, guys, is really, really neat. It's a velveteen paper, and I don't know if you can see the image on there. It's really subtle. And what I did was I took a rubber stamp and I laid the velveteen paper velvet down on the rubber stamp, and I took my iron and ironed over it. And what it does is it flattens out the stamped image on the paper, so you actually have a really subtle image there. It's really neat. I like it. This page here, I split the coffee sleeve. I put a little photo turn here so Ginger could put a photo there and hold it into place. So you flip this up, there's a little photo mat, and there's this little tag, this little bird that I cut out of the foil, and actually I got glue on the front when I was gluing it to this piece of chipboard, and so to fix it I just added more glue, and it worked great. You see no glue spots, nothing. It's nice and smooth. A couple more tags here. And here what I did was we received these goldenrod envelopes, and I just cut the corners out, and you'll see these throughout the album, so they work really well to put tags in, and I've actually used them underneath flowers in places. I got that idea just recently off YouTube, and it works great, you guys. It works like a charm. It's easy to slide tags underneath your flowers and have them fully adhered to the page. So this page I created another vellum envelope, and this is a little charm that I also created. Inside there's a couple of tags. Laughing deeply is living deeply. And I use glimmer mist throughout, not everywhere, but a little bit here and there. And this is another page that pops open. Here's a little flower from a piece of the ribbon. That's another one of those flowers. And a stick pin I created, and this little tag comes out and it says, "Live in the moment and make it so beautiful that it will be worth remembering." And then this little butterfly, again, I put glass beads on it. And you open this up, and I have this little butterfly just on pop dots so that you can put that tag underneath. I have this little journaling spot that we were given, and I actually punched this butterfly out from my Martha Stewart punch, added stickles and crackle accents, and then put this little charm on top. And then we had this little paper bag, and I folded it in half, cut the bottom out, and put a couple of tags with journaling spots in here. And one thing I forgot to show you on this spread was at the end here there is a little pocket with some tags. So I included, this is just a standard shipping tag. I just folded it in 3, distressed it, and put this little paper clip on it. And I created this metal tag with the metal foil that was in the kit. And what I did was I embossed it. This is a leafy branch embossing folder. I believe it's a Cuttlebug. And then I used this little hand torch. I got it from Canadian Tire hardware store. And if you torch the metal, it gives it this aged, worn look. So this was brass foil. So I think I'm at my time limit for my first video. So I will pause here and come back and show you the rest in part 2.